Hi, I'm Matt from The Last Drop of Ink and welcome to podcast number 4. In this podcast, we'll be showing you how you can sell more products, make more money with almost exactly the same products of what you've got already. Dave, I bet they think that we're mad.
I totally think they do think we're mad, and I would have thought the same about 3 or 4 years ago until I saw the power of what we're going to be talking about today in action.
Happy days. Okay, so what are we going to be talking about in today's podcast? In short, we're going to show you a simple way the top marketplace businesses are using right now underneath your very noses, and they use this tactic to sell more products, make more money than what you are, and attract and convert more customers than you. And best of all, we've all known about this all along, and all we're going to be doing is pointing it out to you. And you may even be using it right now, but probably not to its full potential. Customers want is convenience, and we need to give it to them. That's the underlying factor when it comes to a conversion of a sale on a marketplace or a website. Is not only it's the confidence that they are going to be buying the right item, and it's not going to become an inconvenience to them if they've been chosen the wrong item, and everything's going to go well. And it's the reason why people use eBay and Amazon after all. They're looking for these marketplaces rather than trawling the entire internet to find what they want. And you'll notice that I'm not using choice here. It's because we assume that the marketplaces, that is an overwhelming choice of products to look at. But generally, customers are only ever going to buy one product, so that there is only one choice, and of which hopefully it's yours.
This leads us on to a question that you've had a couple of times this week, isn't that right, Matt?
Yeah, I've had it twice today, and it was also on my web stats again. So Dave, I'll let you read this one out.
It's quite a simple question, and it's almost a plea. It's why don't people buy from me? And like you said, Matt, on eBay, on Amazon, on all the marketplaces, the one thing that you will find is choice. No matter where you look or what you're looking for, there will be someone there selling it. And in most cases, more than one person there selling it. Mm-hmm. And the key is to stand out from the crowd. And why should the buyer choose you over your competitor?
What are the couple of reasons why somebody would choose a competitor over you, perhaps there, Dave?
There are a couple of main ones. Again, the main one tends to be price. Are they getting a better offer elsewhere from your competitor? Again, not mentioning Amazon, they tend to have a bit of a hit in the market where a lot of smaller sellers can't go. Again, brings you down to your economies of scale. And this could also take you back to the first podcast about the description. Is your description missing key information where you're not building that element of trust for the buyer to know they're getting exactly what they want? Is there a poor image? Could your image be better? Is it not displaying the product to its full potential? The final one is the big one, and that's, I think you should go into this one, Matt.
The question is, as a customer, can I get a better deal somewhere else because a different seller is including something for free? Are they including a little sweetener into the deal, which makes it, even if it's the same price, it will seal the deal for me on there? And that's exactly what we're suggesting tonight for you to do, or today if you're listening to it during it on Friday afternoon, is that what we're suggesting to you is to take the extra step, make the commitment, and help to take the customer to the tipping point from looking at a competitor's item and unbalancing the scales into your favour. And the irony here is that it's really simple to do. Now, Dave did mention that we've covered descriptions that sell in the first podcast, and we'll also be looking at titles that sell in a later podcast. But this one is about helping the customer past that tipping point. Now, you've listened to us for a couple of minutes already, and I'm going to be quite brazen here, is that I want you to take action from this podcast, and I know Dave feels the same too, is that we want you to take action, and there's no point you carrying on and listening to the rest of this podcast if you're not going to take action. What we're going to cover is give you some step-by-step guides with plenty of examples for you to follow. And if you get stuck at any point in time, we're both here to help you. And you can both ask us. You can either email us directly or you can ask us in the forums. And again, the forums are lastdropofink.co.uk/forums. If you've got a question, ask them. But ultimately, we want you to go and take what you learn in this podcast and put it into action. Go and try it yourself. Go and make that difference between you and your competitors and win. And that's what we want you to do. We want you to win. Isn't that right, Dave?
That's right. And I'd like to make the point, it doesn't have to be expensive. It just needs, even if it's just a test, just take action and see the results that come from it. And like I said, let us know how it goes. Let us know what you did, what products you sourced, or if you don't think there's a product that you can match or you can bundle together with your product, then challenge me and Matt, and we will see if we can find a natural match for your product. Pretty confident we should be able to do it.
I'm pretty confident too. Now, this is only if you want to make unique items to sell on eBay and Amazon. You want to compete against competitors on your terms and not theirs. If you want to sell more, make more money, and gain a competitive advantage, then carry on listening. If you don't, then just hit the pause button and save us some bandwidth. I'm sorry to be so bracing on this one, but it's really about taking action. I can't stress that enough for this one, is that we want you to go away and take action and try this for yourself. So take it away from just listening to us in your earbuds and take it into the real world, and then let us know how you get on. And again, if you get stuck, we're there to hold your hand. I can't stress that enough, is that we're both here just to hold your hands. Now, I'm going to shut up on this topic and let's move on. Now, this is a very, very simple way to differentiate yourself and your business away from competitors through the addition of either inexpensive goods or reusing the goods which you've already got access to. Now, these are commonly known as kits, bundles, sets, packs, so on and so forth. We're going to take one product and we're going to take another product which is related or sometimes unrelated and join them together to help give your customers convenience and make a unique product which you can sell. Now, before we go digging these to a little bit deeper, we need to understand the 4 standard product business models. Now, I wrote an article last year or maybe the year before on this, and I'm going to quickly cover this with you so you can understand where this fits, because it's actually a hybrid and it's a combination of them all. We've got 4 standard product business models. The first one is stocked. Now, we all know these because we've probably got a corner shop just around the corner and it's a retail store and they've got all the products in there, and you can walk in and buy a pot noodle or 2 litres of cider in my case. You can just buy the products off the shelf, or just in Tesco, you can buy anything off the shelf. And that's what you're kind of used to. That's where traditional retail has always come from. It's the products being bought and there's typically always been an outlay of cash to fund it. So that's business model number 1 for products. The second one is manufacture. Now, this doesn't have to be as hardcore as making raw components, taken from iron ore and copper and making alloys and so on and so forth. This can be just the simple combination of one product and another product and joining it together. The next standard model is virtual, or as I like to call it, just in time, or the word which I hate is drop ship. This is where the stock is being fulfilled by a third party. So you make their stock available for sale on or off a marketplace, a transaction happens, and then they send the goods to the customer direct. The final one is asset recovery. Now, asset recovery does also include refurbished products, and this is essentially where a product has gone through the asset recovery process and been remanufactured. And most businesses have all 4 of these product models available to them. So I'm guessing if you're listening right now that you've got stock products in your warehouse. You may be dabbling with making up unique products. You may have some virtual products available to you, even if it's the case that you know that if you sell out that your supplier's got some more, that is almost virtual stock. And also asset recovery. So in the run up to Christmas, your supplier may have overstocked, so you've got deals available to you. Again, in January, or as a product reaches the end of its life cycle, one of your suppliers may offer you a discounted rate on a set range of products. Again, that's asset recovery. Now, most businesses, they use a hybrid of all of these different options combined together, and that's kind of what I'm trying to explain there, is that no one business ever follows one of these models purely. It's always a combination of one and another attached together in a unique way. Is that fair to say, Dave?
Yeah, I mean, as you were reading that, I was thinking about a lot of the businesses that I know of, and most of them use 2, some of them use 3. I'm struggling to think of one that uses all four put together. When you look at your business, you'll probably be able to see at least 2, maybe 3 of those points where you can say there's definitely aspects of those in my business.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, just to think aloud, I've seen all combinations, but I thought I'd seen all combinations until I saw one business not that long ago, and it was asset recovery and virtual put together. And what it was these gold recovery lines where you can get cash for gold and stuff like that, is that this guy had negotiated for those companies to sit on those products for a period of time, and then if he sold them, they would then ship the products on. And it was a really weird combination of this asset recovery loop with virtual stock. I'd never seen that one before, so that was an interesting combination.
Yeah, no, that is a weird one.
Exactly. So coming back onto the topic, what we're going to be looking at is the manufacture part of this business model. Why I wanted to point out the other 3 of 4 models is that with manufacturer, you could include a stock product and a virtual product. You could have an asset recovery and a stock product together, or virtual stock and asset recovery together. It can be any combination of these to manufacture a new product. And a new product is essentially exactly the same product as, so let's think of an iPad. Let's just keep it really simple. You've got an iPad which you sell, and we need to make this unique to try and differentiate your product offering from somebody else's. And the easiest way for you to do this is to bundle in extras. Now, the extras could be as cheap as a screen protector. Now, while we were doing the remix just before this podcast, me and Dave were chatting, I had a quick look on Alibaba.com, and you can pick up screen protectors for iPads for pence, and I mean 2 to 3 pence a pop. So for absolute pennies, that you maybe could include a pack of 10 of them, because after all, it's cost you 20p to do it. It's getting that little extra nudge. So in the scheme of things, so for a £500 device to 20 pence to convert a customer is absolutely nothing at all. And you can include a case. So instead of just having the iPad by itself, you can include an outer case, or maybe screen polishers or cleaners or things like that. It's taking the base product which the customer wants, adding something extra in to sweeten the deal to help them convert them from being somebody else's customer to being your customer.
Just done a quick search there, Matt. Guess how much a stylus is for an iPad on Alibaba?
Go on.
About 15 cents.
15 cents. So let's call that 10p.
Yeah,
10p.
If you know where to source products, then you'd be amazed at the prices you can get for something that would actually make stand out against other sellers. Although it doesn't seem a lot, is a difference, and that's what we're trying to get at here.
Yeah, exactly. And it doesn't have to cost a fortune. So we're using the extremities of an expensive device as an iPad, and the other extremity for a screen protector or stylus, so 10 or 20p for an additional item. Now, if you've ever bought any of these styluses, and I'll pick on those for starters, is that I use them all the time. I've got 2 kids, they'll chew them, the cat will play with them, and they're gone. Nintendo DS, I've lost count how many times H has been and bought styluses for that thing, because the kids and the cats just get them. The screen protector, so you can imagine 20 little greasy fingers on top of my iPad continuously when they're not at school, that I get through a large number of screen protectors. So I don't buy them in just 1s and 2s, is that I need a pack of them because the kids are going to kill the iPad. And that's another point here, is that we're using the example of the iPad and the stylus or the screen protector, or both of them together, is that you could also be selling the styluses and the screen protectors separately as well.
That's a whole income stream of its own, because let's be honest, if they're costing you a unit price, go back to the stylus, of 15 cents, even if you sold one for 99p, that's still a hell of a profit margin.
It is. You got to factor in first of all, postage and packaging and the other bits and bobs, but there's still money to be made in there if you can do the volumes. Absolutely. And again, if you're having to pay £100 or £200 to get these items in to be able to subsidise the larger products, then if you can sell them separately and make more money essentially in those and on the big products, then it's win-win all the way for them. And again, the items cost in pence, so the amount of risk is very, very, very low in the scheme of things.
Especially if the product isn't seasonal, which most of these won't be, they're never going to really devalue in price. You know, you'll be able to charge the same price all year round.
Yeah, exactly. It's not going to rot, and especially with stylus, is that it's always going to fit the same. It's always going to work, and it'll probably work for mobile devices. Yeah, for mobile devices too. Now, while we were chatting just before this podcast went off and we started recording, is that I was telling Dave about my favourite TV channel, which is Best Direct TV. And he says, well, is that one of those cheesy TV channels where they sell you stuff? I said, yeah, because I absolutely love it. And they're absolutely brilliant. Now, we had a quick nose on their site, didn't we? And the first item I found was a smart pen, 2 for 1, plus, so that's one of those pens which you can get rid of the scratches on the cars, is that you can have 2 for 1 on those, and you get a free vacuum cleaner, and you get a free polish as well. So let's think about this. You've seen these cheesy late night ads. So when you've been passed out on the sofa and you've looked up at the TV at 3 o'clock in the morning or 4, and it's on the TV, and they're doing the sell to you. They're doing, you can buy product X, and they've beefed it up all the way through for the last 20 minutes, and then they'll start chucking in the extras. So they'll chuck in the free vacuum cleaner, they'll include the free polish, and they'll include the parts which already came with it. So it came with a vacuum bag. They're including the vacuum bag as well. Whether it was part of the vacuum or not, they're still including it. And then there's a little she whiz. I'm looking on the Best Direct website at the moment. And again, I can imagine the TV ad for this. Include a foot pedal as well. And it will include a set of 64 bobbins and spool set of assorted colours. Like, you couldn't probably use it without it. You had to have that with it. And again, it's an actual bonus in there. That's how they build value in products. And that little she whiz probably costs about £5 to make. And they're selling it for 40 quid. Or £40, sorry, if you're in the States. And so that's about $60, $70 as a quick conversion for it. And going back to our other examples on there, we've got the iPad case and screen protectors, as we've already been covered. If you were selling a baby's bag, so a change bag, so would it be that expensive to include a detachable bottle holder? So, you know, one of those bottle warmers, so you can put your milk bottle in there to keep the bottle of milk warm for the little one. Or maybe a changing mat. How expensive would be a changing mat, Dave? Peanuts again.
You sort of said that as if I'd be an expert on that one, Matt.
I just wanted you to have that about open in front of you again.
Give me a sec. I'll work on that one for you.
Okay, work on that one in the background. So some more examples for you. If you're selling books, then maybe include a bookmark. I'm forever using receipts and bus tickets and train tickets to put in my book as bookmarkers, and they work fine. But if I had something which was much longer and more suited to it, maybe if I could take notes, or even better, if you're selling books, send me one of those little thin post-it notes. You know, post-it notes come in those big packs, and you can get the small ones. Include one of those with the book. Because if it's a factual book, then all my books which I read, I've got all these post-it notes all stuck all the way through. I'd love that if somebody started sending me those, because that would last me 4 or 5 books as I go through. And again, if you branded it to Book Company X, then suddenly every single page which I've stuck a little note in there, it's got Book Company X written on it. So who am I going to be thinking of when I go on to the next book? So reoccurring marketing for that. If you're in the cars category, so pretty doesn't matter what item you're selling, from a light bulb to a brake pad and so on and so forth. Your customer's got a car. Can't you include a free air freshener? They don't have to like it. Again, it's the actual smell, and you can never please everybody, I hasten to add, is that you can include it. And again, you're including it as a gift, as a free gift. Or just a slide topic here is that when you're dispatching orders, include a lollipop in there. The customer's reaction, and I did this for about the best part of about 10,000 orders off on eBay, is that we included lollipops for our orders as well. Imagine that box turning up at your house, and the postman's been in, or the courier's been and delivered it, you open it up, and on top of the receipt, there's a lollipop welded to it. Brilliant! Screw what's in the box. Well, you might have to look what's in there. Brilliant! I'll go and eat the lollipop, and then while I'm enjoying my lollipop, I'll carry on looking at my product which I've been and had delivered.
News just in, Matt. Baby changing, Matt. About $1.50.
Bargain. So 120, 110, something like that.
Yeah,
a rough conversion, something like that. So more examples for you. Again, we're not looking for excuses here. We're looking for to give you reasons and help you think about your products and how you could be joining them together with either existing products which you've got, or maybe bringing in new products to bolster what you've got, new cheaper products. So even in this case of a changing mat for $1 or whatever, it's just best bolstering what you've got very cheaply and efficiently. So if you're selling a bird table, how about a solar light at night time? So a solar light probably costs a couple of pence as well to include it in there. In the scheme of things, so a £15 item to add a 20 pence unit in isn't a lot. And again, it could help seal the deal for the customer to buying that actual product. And again, it's an actual unique selling point which you can use when you're selling the bird table, so that you can have a light on it at night, so it suddenly becomes an ornament for it. Again, if it's a nice attractive one. Dave, I was asking about the handbag earlier, and you came up with the idea of a purse or an umbrella, wasn't it?
Yeah, I tell you, these listeners are going to get a terrible opinion of me. All I talk about every week is dresses, handbags. They're going to think I'm a bit weird, but yeah, the obvious one for handbag is a matching purse or a matching umbrella. I know my girlfriend and my mum, my sister, they all have bags which have matching purses or have a similar pattern with an umbrella. It's seems like an obvious one. Exactly.
Yeah,
Fashion.
Yeah, talking about fashion, did Amazon remarket you a couple of days ago with anything special?
Not
Any
that I know
dresses
of.
in particular? Did you get any of those come into?
Not that I know of.
Oh, okay. It's fair enough. So maybe if you're selling something electrical, would it be that expensive to include a set of batteries with it? And again, kids' toys are the obvious ones. If it says batteries are not included, a couple of quid extra, well, I'd say a couple of quid, for pennies extra in the scheme of things, including a pack of batteries as well, it's a unique selling point. And again, I'm thinking for my kids at Christmas is that I'm having to check the product to make sure it's got batteries included, or if it hasn't, then I need to go and order some or make sure I've got some rechargeable ones in there. Then if I can get them in one group, then that's absolutely excellent for me. It just saves me another chore. And again, as a customer, I'm looking for value, but I'm also looking for convenience. And if I can find value and convenience together, then we're winning. And some more examples. I'm just looking for examples which we can give you. If you're selling a laptop, and again, we're going up into the high price ranges here, maybe including a spare battery. And again, we've seen this all over the place, Dave, is that when you buy a new device, go on.
No, I was just going to say, I mean, when I obviously came from a consumer electronics background before I got obsessed with dresses, we used to bundle antivirus software with laptops, relatively cheap. I mean, again, just had a quick look on Alibaba, a laptop case, 15.6 inch, which seems to be the standard laptop size, neoprene case, again, $1.50. It's not going to break the bank per unit to bundle that with a laptop. And
again, assuming the average sale, it may be a refurbished laptop is over £100 to £1, 100 to 1. The ratio is good here, and again, you could sell the items separately. Again, you don't have to bring these accessories in to make huge amounts of margin or make them your primary lines. We're looking to bring these items in to bolster your existing products.
Yeah, just to increase your sales is the main thing. Yeah.
There's two more examples which we're going to give you, and the first one's a real obvious one, and it's so often overlooked, and that is put your products into bundles of quantity. So if you're selling sanding belts, for example, put them in packs, and they come in packs of 5, put them in packs of 25, or put them in packs of 50. There's nothing more annoying than going to do a job and you realise you've run out of sandpaper, or especially if you've got the belts for a Pacific sander, is that, again, if you can take a customer from, say, a £3 or £4 or £5 sale into a £20 sale for exactly the same product, and you're sending them more, happy days.
Exactly. It's all about moving product, isn't it? I mean, that's what it is. That's what we're all in business for.
Exactly.
Getting items out the door.
Getting the items out the door, exactly. The other one was that I bought some light boxes. So if you followed me last year as I went on my video adventure, which was quite good fun, I worked out that I needed professional lighting to go into my office, so the video recording quality was good. And I ended up buying a pair of light boxes, but it wasn't just the light boxes. It was the light box, the stands, the cables, and the light bulbs themselves. And I paid about £75 plus shipping. Now, I know I paid more as a kit than what I could have done separately, but I paid for that seller's experience of putting those items together to make sure that they were all compatible. And I paid more for that. And again, don't underestimate your expertise. So if you're selling a complex product, you're able to combine numerous complex products together which fit together, then do it. And light boxes are a good example, but it ports into pretty much every other market space as well.
Please correct me if I'm wrong. I'm sure you showed me the listing of the kit that you bought last year. He said one of the reasons you bought it was because of the sales history. This guy had sold thousands of these equipment kit as such.
I don't think it was thousands. It was 353 or something like that off the top of my head. But it was a really, really high number. And I'd actually chosen that guy's listing over more cheaper priced items because it had a higher sales history on it. And my mental calculation in my head was that that guy sold 300 plus of these. He's got very few negatives. That product must be good. And it was good. It was exactly what he said. And I also got, I got freebies in that as well. I got one of those pop-out discs for mirroring the light as well. You ever seen those on the film studio sets and they do the lights? I got one of those as well. I haven't even used it, to be honest. The kids have played with it and I've lobbed it in the roof. I will never use that, ever. But that was my freebie. I got a freebie for that.
So what we're saying here is, you saw your products online somewhere cheaper, but you bought off this guy because there was more in the kit and you were willing to pay more, as were 300 odd other people, because it had that high sales rank as well.
Yeah, and don't forget, I'd researched hard, so I'd found out where all the components had come from and so on and so forth, so I'd worked out probably what how much it cost back to the seller.
Matt's not the typical buyer.
No, I'm not your normal buyer by any means. Hence, that's why I love TV channels like Best Direct and Gems TV, which get very excitable.
They are no one's favourite TV channels, Matt. I need to show you Dave sometime. It's got Top Gear on it all the time.
Oh,
that's
like
a proper channel.
And Discovery, 212, and Sky One for Stargate. But we're digressing.
I know.
Now, there's a couple of challenges, and they're mainly logistical for you to overcome. We've got 3 here noted, and again, if you come up with another challenge which we haven't covered in these 3, please just ask for help. That again, we were quite brutal at the beginning to weed out people which were going to listen to this podcast and not take action. We really want you to take action, and if you've got a challenge which you can't overcome, then come and ask us, and we'll do our damn best to help you overcome it. Now, the first one is the logistical issue of stock control and order processing. Now, if you're taking, so let's take iPad and a screen protector. It's the easiest one which I think you can relate to, is that if you were selling this separately, so you would have a SKU called iPad and a SKU called screen protector. Now, if you join these together, then what I suggest you do is, well, number one is you give it a unique SKU or a unique stock number. So call it iPad plus 1 screen P for it. So it's obvious when you read it back that you can see what it is. And again, if you're doing bundles, so you maybe 10 protectors, so iPad plus 10 screen Ps, for example. So name your SKUs appropriately so that when you or your staff are processing the orders, they can quickly see what that product actually entails or includes. And again, that's really useful if you're using an order management system or you're not using an order management system which doesn't support kits.
If you are going to sell these kit items separately as well, it's always best to keep some stock allocated to the kit, because there's nothing worse than if you go to sell a kit, you're going to grab the screen protectors and realise you've sold out. You know, your kit order, and you're just going to run the risk of a load of eggs and everything else.
Yeah, Dave, that's brilliant, and that's something which we've not included in our notes, and Dave should have brought up there, is that it does open to a danger where, remember back in the stock model, you've either got the item where you haven't, is that if you're doing a manufacturer business model, then you need both those items to be in stock or to be available for them to be fulfilled. So stock control is even more important in this model, and it may limit some of the listeners as well from them being able to do it. Although just keeping a visual eye on your stock, if you're not dealing with hundreds and hundreds of lines, then it could be quite possible just to keep a visual check on them.
That's it, just to be aware of it.
Yeah, exactly. Now, a really daft one is that don't forget to tell your staff. Don't forget to tell your staff that you're now selling in kits. And if they start seeing orders come in with #iPad #10 screen Ps on it, that's just an iPad with 10 screen protectors, and they go and take one iPad and 10 screen protectors and stick them in the same box or package. It's just such a daft one, but if you don't tell your staff what's going on, you're going to open yourself up to simple mistakes which could have been easily avoided. Again, for customer services as well, let them know what's going on, and so that they're fully aware. And Dave, when it comes to Amazon, we also need unique barcodes as well.
We do. Amazon are a big fan of barcodes. They won't let you list without one. So obviously what we're doing here is making unique products. The unique product is going to need a unique barcode. And obviously the one-stop shop there is GS1. In fact, it's the only stop shop in the UK, www.gs1uk.org. We'll stick a link on the site of this podcast.
Absolutely, and don't go and pay an absolute fortune for a barcode or a couple of VNs or UPCs. Is that GS1's really inexpensive, especially if you're doing large amounts of products. And for, again, costings off the top of my head, it's about 125 quid to register with them. Then you license barcodes. You didn't buy barcodes, you license them for a year, and that costs £125 again, or about thereabouts. And if you need 1 million, then they'll give you 1 million. But if you only need 1,000, they'll probably give you about 10,000 to keep you going with. Okay, so barcodes are really, really inexpensive, and if you're dealing with unbranded goods, or you're going to be making a large number of unique products, and again, you need those EANs again for Google product search as well, then you can get them for GS1 and don't pay for the notes for them. Right, you may notice that the sound has changed and the dynamics here is because I've actually got Dave sat next to me today.
Hello.
Now, normally we're separated. Normally I'm in Bristol and Dave is up in Manchester, but Dave was at the Telepro conference yesterday.
Yes, I was, and I've come over to Bristol for a break, and it's not turned into much of a break.
It's not much of a break because we're both here working, but by 2 o'clock we will be out the door and go and get some cider and get some drinks in and some dinner. So the reason why we're adding this is that we just wanted, so we're just listening back to the podcast and we wanted to add some extra information for you. And what we covered was a lot of like one big product and lots of smaller products, wasn't it?
Yeah, we seem to focus on putting small inexpensive items with larger main items, and then you sort of made out that wasn't all that you could do.
No, it's not all you could do, and I've got a couple of examples just to stress this. So what we've covered up until now is big items and small items, but it doesn't have to be that way, and I've got a couple of examples for you. So the first one is that if you're selling, the big Microsoft and big keyboards in there, then that's say got an average sale price of £50, and then maybe you've got a Sidewinder mouse which has got an average sale price of about 50 quid as well, is that you join them together and make a kit out of them. So two very related items which are not bundled together to make a kit out of them. And the other one was that if you're saying this is a big and a small item, but it doesn't have to be big and small, because if you've got a printer, for example, is that make a big bundle so that if you know your customers are going to get through their consumables, which are paper and ink, that to include the extra cartridges, or maybe larger cartridges, and maybe 2 reams of paper as well. It's about pushing that sell price right up.
Yeah, I think the thing there as well is you don't have to, you could still offer, there's still a saving to be had there, because if you bundle them together, there's only one postage cost, there's only one handling cost, so you're not going to have, you should still be able to offer a decent price which will make it, make a saving for the buyer.
Yeah, and absolutely. Again, is that if you're using a courier, then it was going to cost you 4 or 5 quid, I don't know what your courier rates are, but just say it's a fiver to send that printer out. Mm-hmm. Well, the courier doesn't actually really care whether you're sending a printer or a wardrobe almost, because of it's basically done upon weight.
Yeah, and weight and size. Yeah.
Weight and size. So that as long as it's a standard size, it's not over the restrictions, then you can send up a pick and parcel for us. It's like 30 kilos for it. So fill your box up and paper on the bottom for it to get to 30 kilos, and then offer that savouring onto the customer, and you push your average sale price up through the window.
Again, I mean, there's no massive obstacle to be had there. If you've got a printer that's already boxed with HP branding all over it, there's nothing stopping you overboxing it, putting that in a bigger box and sticking the paper in there.
Yeah.
Might be a slight cost for a box, but
Exactly. And the other one is that if you're just doing the printer and the additional ink cartridges, then there's typically a lot of spare space in these boxes. Cut the box and stick it in.
Yeah.
And then the quick note there: make sure you put the invoice inside the box as well, to make sure the customer's saying they've got second-hand goods. Just a daft one. The other one is that I don't know if you noticed on eBay lately, these Shambhala bracelets have done really, really well. But what you'll notice now is that the more cleverer sellers, they're taking the bracelet and then making kits out of them. So say the bracelet's got an average sale price of £5, and the necklace has got a sale price of £5, and the earrings have got a sale price of £5. Well, is that not a £14 item? And you can bind them together.
It is, and as we mentioned briefly before, with accessorising handbags and purses, it's the obvious choice. If you put it in front of them, the people will buy it.
Exactly, and again, we're giving the customers convenience. Now, a couple of other wild examples is that if you're selling those plastic toys like the Schleiss or Bread toys, then and they come in ranges. So I'm talking about toys now, but if you've got a product which comes in a range, and why can't you join these items together to make a kit? So I'm going to use horses as an example. So if you've got a range of horses, or to bring them in together and make a single kit. Or if you're selling models, for example, so the Airfix models, and then maybe do a whole World War II pack on there, or late World War II, or do all the airplanes, or do all the boats, and or the motorcycles, or do all the Kawasaki ones. I don't know how many in the range. Hell, why not just make a big range? And if somebody buys X number of products, then you're winning.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, I think it just requires a little bit of thinking outside the box as to regards how to kit your things together. But we've stumbled across this idea in the past 10 minutes or so, and we've made quite a big list of things that can kit together in no time at all. So take a step back and look at your products and see where the natural fit is.
Yeah, and again, if you get stuck, just ask, and we'll wrap up with the words to those effects. So, and a couple more examples for you. If you're selling bedding, then include pillows. Give them the option of buying pillows at the same time. Pillows are really relatively inexpensive, but they're still in a similar price bracket, so you can take maybe a £15 sale to £20 sale and include it in there. And these packs for bedding specifically, they're quite heavy, so the chances are they're going to go via courier anyway. Then including a pillow, it's not the amount of weight which a pillow absorbs, absolutely tiny, isn't it? So include them in there. If you're selling beds, sell mattresses, so the bed's direct to whatever place it is just up the road. You go buy a bed, and the salesperson, would you like a new mattress?
Well, yes, I would.
Exactly.
My bed will be really uncomfy without it.
But it's just a natural thing. So you could take a £200 sale and you add another £200 sale. So you made a £400 sale, for example. Really, really easy to do. A little cheap one again was that if you're selling trainers, then why not include laces or insoles or polish or some form of, I think you suggested that some form of product to help maintain the product as well.
Yeah, there's all sorts of restore polish and stuff like that, which again adds the life to the trainers, if you're like me and decide to walk the dog in a thunderstorm.
And one really cool one, which is lots of separate products which you could potentially sell together, and we're looking at it on the laptop right now. Dave, do you want to? I
mean, this goes back to create, like you said before, make your own range. This is effectively what this seller has done. They've created their own UK travel kit, so they've bundled together I think it's about 4 or 5 different products, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 or 6 products into one kit that are all relevant. So it's a European caravan motorhome travel kit for driving in Europe, but it includes the warning triangle, a high-vis vest, a first aid kit, a fire extinguisher, some tools and bulbs. If anything goes wrong, that kit has pretty much got it covered.
Yeah, indeed, and it's all about convenience. So if I was going to go be driving into Europe, then I know that I'm supposed to have one of these kits, or I'm supposed to have one of all these different items, and there's no way I'm going to buy them individually. I just want to commit, and it's convenience, isn't it?
It is, and you said it at the beginning. Choice isn't an option, isn't an issue for a buyer. They've got plenty of choice. Convenience is key. If you're going to make their life a little bit easier, then that could take them over the tipping point.
Happy days. So that's the live version out of the way, and we'll wrap up the rest of the podcast now. If you get stuck for ideas, just ask. We're both here to support you in that. So we hope we've kind of got the creative juices rolling with you to think about what products you've already got sat in your warehouse or in your office, or maybe in the room where you listen to us right now, is that can you put that product with that product and make a unique product? And then what would it take to put that product to market? And the answer probably is not a lot. And that's what we want you to do. It's low-hanging fruit for you. Go off and get in and get mucky.
Yeah, I mean, this podcast we're not reinventing the wheel here. We're trying to, like Matt said, get creative juices flowing. We're telling you what you probably already know, but we're then sort of saying, now is the time to take action. Like I said, a couple of podcasts ago, we mentioned Christmas is coming. Now's as good a time as any to try and get the sales up and be the difference that will make a buyer choose you over your competitor. And like I said, we're not reinventing the wheel. We're just sort of showing you, here is a way to do it. This is how we would do it. This is how we've seen it done. And if you've got any problems, ask us, and we'll do our best to point you in a direction.
So from myself, Matt from The Last Drop of Ink, and Dave from
davefurnace.co.uk.
Thank you ever so much for listening. Catch you soon.
Bye now.